Hello all, good morning, good evening, good afternoon for all the participants joining us tonight for the session today. I would request you to kindly go on mute, please. Thank you. So good evening, good morning, good afternoon for all the participants joining across the globe. Thank you very much for taking your time and joining our session.
Good evening, ma'am.
Welcome you all for the Premier Wednesday, an event sponsored by Premier Agile. Before going ahead, I just wanted to share my screen here. Hope everybody can see my screen.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for confirming. So welcome you all for the Premier Wednesday, an event sponsored by Premier Agile. This is our 36th Premier Wednesday event, and the theme is Agile Coaching, which is happening today. That is on December 15, 2021. And let me introduce myself. My name is Madhuri from Premier Agile, and I will be facilitating the session today. To start with, our services, we are transforming individuals, organizations to new age working through education, coaching, and community development for the Agile environment. We are glad to announce that CIO Review India magazine has rated us top 10 Agile consultants for the year 2021. And also the Business Fame magazine have rated us as most admired company for the year 2021. I thank you all for being a part of our journey so far. And we are affiliated to Scrum Alliance, which is the largest certifying body. And we are offering a Scrum Master, that is a Scrum Alliance certified Scrum Master, product owner, advanced Scrum Master, and advanced product owner as well. And also we are affiliated to a SAFE organization where we are offering leading SAFE and project management certification. As I said, these two are our alliances, which is Scrum Alliance and Scaled Agile organizations. Our sessions are designed on learning from global practitioners with training from back of the room, which is back 50 years of research on brain science learning. Can anybody kindly please be on mute? Thank you. Thank you very much. So this is 50 years research on brain science learning. Coming to our free implementations, I'll get back to this on my next slide. And absolutely value for your money. So far, we have trained 20,000 plus students, where 1,000 plus workshops we have conducted so far till date, and across 35 plus countries, and 5-star rating on Google. We also have 1,000 plus Google reviews on our page. So as I said, these are the free implementations that we are offering, and Premier Wednesday and interesting events that we regularly conduct on Premier Agile. So that's why we are here today as a part of Premier Wednesday. Regularly, we conduct webinars or mentoring sessions or meetup. We select a topic and then we conduct the events there. So this is very interesting, and invite international speakers all around the globe for the sessions. And we have been conducting these events regularly. Every month, 1 or 2, we make sure that we conduct these events. And Ask Mentoring session, it's a career mentoring session that we conduct, generally one-on-one. These days, we are also conducting a group mentoring session we are conducting now. And so you have any career guidance required, any real-time challenges after the certification you want, anything that you want to know from the trainer, or what is the career path, or whatever you want to speak to the trainer, you can speak to the trainer registering for this Ask Mentoring session, where you can speak to the trainer one-on-one, and we will allot a slot, and depending on the availability, and you can speak to the trainer. Other free resources are, we have blogs on our website, metrics, online courses, quizzes, templates. So all these are available on our website. I would request my teammate Ishwari to kindly give our website link on the chat, please. There you go. Thank you, Ishwari. So that is the website where you find all these resources there, and book on metrics, online courses like overview of SAFE, overview of Kanban. Few courses are already there, and quizzes. This is really important, like Scrum Master quiz, Product Owner quiz, Agile Coaching quiz, and Leading Safe quizzes. And one more is templates. It's a part of our free downloads that we are offering, like sprint backlog template, product backlog, user story mapping. Certain templates are already predefined on our website. You can find all the dump there on our website, going to the downloads there. So anybody can tell me what are these? These are regular phrases that we use to preach and teach during our classes. Can anybody tell me what are these 5 terms that you're seeing on the screen?
Scrum values.
Correct. Exactly right. These are the 5 Scrum values: commitment, focus, openness, respect, and courage are the 5 Scrum values that we preach, teach during the class. So the session is time boxed. Exactly, we started by 7 p.m. India time, and I request everybody to kindly stay on mute. And one more small request that I have: to have an interactive session, an energetic session, I would request everybody to kindly turn on your videos, at least for some time, so that it will just be an, interactive session. So I request, that is a small request from my end. And if you have any questions, you can just type your question on the chat, or whenever you can just raise your hand and ask the question there. And kindly make notes accordingly. And this is the agenda for tonight. So the topic is The Art of Self-Coaching by Deepa Chandrasekharan. Hi, Deepa. Thank you for all the support for tonight. And yeah, so Suresh sir is also taking on coaching stances and techniques here for today. So thank you very much. So this is the agenda. I'm honored to invite Deepa Chandrasekharan and Suresh sir for today's session. Now that I'm handing over the session to Deepa to introduce yourself and continue with the session. Over to you, Deepa. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Madhavi. Thank you so much. Am I audible, visible?
Yes, yes.
Okay, fantastic. So I'm just going to share my screen and we'll start. Okay, good evening, everyone. Good evening. Like Madhuri said, we have audience from all locations. So good evening, good afternoon, good morning for the people who are joining us from US. So, I am Deepa Chandrasekharan. I'm a career acceleration expert. And I want to introduce today's session with a story, okay? And this is a very personal story. And I'm hoping that when I share this story, you'll be able to understand what we're going to talk about today. So, my story, to understand my story, I request all of you to go back a little in timeline. So we'll go to 2018, and this was August of 2018, when it had been a year since I had left my corporate job. I was working in Capgemini. I had left Capgemini in 2017 June, and I had spent a year, about 12 to 14 months, struggling to figure out where do I want to go. I had worked with one of my partners, doing training sessions. I had joined with a coach. I had experimented with a lot of things, but it was not settling down. I had still not earned anything, and it had been close to 14 months. So that was the time when an inner voice started coming up in my head. And the voice said, "What are you doing, Deepa? It's been 14 months. You are in such a fantastic job. You were earning so well. You were on the path to become a VP in a few years, and everything was going fine. You were actually living the dream career that people wish to live. So what made you leave? Why are you even here? Why don't you accept the calls that you're getting to join back Capgemini?" So this was what was going on 14 months after I had left my corporate job, and I was trying to become an entrepreneur and do something of my own. So having heard that voice, I sat down, I took a few deep breaths, and I again spoke to myself. I had a self-talk and I said, yeah, I understand there are challenges. I understand that I have still not settled. I understand that I do not have revenue coming in right now. And I understand that I do not have a business established business right now. But I also understand that I left Capgemini to pursue my dream. I left Capgemini to do something that I was extremely passionate about. So why don't I give myself some more time? And it is, said that it takes about 4 to 6 years to actually know whether your business is going to work or not. So we should not generally quit before that timeline. So I told myself, and I said, let's take 4 to 6 years and see where you are. And then we will decide if it makes sense to go back or if it makes sense to pursue. So these were the two voices in my head 14 months after I had left my career at Capgemini. And I am here today because I listened to the other voice. I did not go back to Capgemini. I did not join back and start doing what I was doing and very comfortable with, but I decided to move on and do that I was passionate about, something that I wanted to really implement and create an impact. So I'm going to share my journey through some pictures. This is me on the last day, 30th of June, 2017. This was the farewell which was given to me by my team. I was doing extremely well. I was loved by everybody. I was enjoying what I was doing there, right? But I was leaving all of that and moving on to a new world. Now, this is me now as a coach, as a career acceleration expert, working with the same leaders from corporates, but impacting in a very different way. In the last 3.5 years, I have done many new things which I never could dream of. So I've become a coach. I'm doing these kind of keynote sessions. I go to colleges, I go to corporates, I attend such premier talks that where I get invited to, and I have also become an author. So I could do all of these things because that day, 14 months after I had left my safe, comfortable, well-paid job, I decided not to listen to one voice and heard the other voice. Okay, so who am I? Let me quickly introduce myself. Like Madhuri said, my name is Deepa Chandrasekharan. I'm the founder and CEO of Engage to Transform. I'm known as one of the top career acceleration experts in India because I have extensively helped corporate leaders quickly turn around their careers, experience total job satisfaction, earn their dream income while having more time to enjoy life. That's what I am doing right now, and that's what I enable for my clients. I'm the author of the book Career Accelerator Formula. This is the book that I have. I love this book. This is the first book which I had never, dreamt of, but I still wrote. And I also run an online book club called Books and Beyond. This is a book club that I run for people who want to recreate and reignite their interest for reading. So these are the different things that I do, and I'm passionate about about innovating, about thinking out of the box, of creating solutions which can create an impact for the society in general. So this is who I am, and I'm extremely fortunate and privileged to be here addressing such a prestigious community of Agile Premier. And I hope that what I'll share today will help all of you to move forward in your career and in your life. Thank you, Suresh, for having me here. Okay, so a few housekeeping rules. I think Madhuri has already spoke about that, but let's make the most of today's session because all of you are taking out an hour listening to me. So I want to make sure that I'm giving my best here and you are able to take back something which actually impacts you, impacts your career, and impacts your life. All right, so let's see how we can show up 100% and make the most of me being here and all of you being here. So a few ground rules. Let's keep the session engaging. Keep the chat active. So let's see some movement on the chat. Tell me, what are you feeling right now? Let's go ahead and share it on the chat. Let's use the chat because it's available on Zoom and it's for us during this session. So how are you feeling right now? Just put one word in the chat. Are you feeling great? Are you feeling excited? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Excited? Okay, fantastic, amazing. Inspiring, absolutely. Thank you for sharing. So let's keep the chat going and see what is coming up for all of you, okay? We will also, ask questions on chat because I'll take all questions towards the end, and I will request Madhuri to keep, keep those questions aside so that towards the end of the session, I have really blocked time to answer any questions that you might have. So go ahead and put your questions on the chat and we'll take them towards the end of the session. Keep your videos on. I love talking to people. Unfortunately, during this pandemic world, I'm not able to do offline sessions, and hence it's become all Zoom. Otherwise, the energy that comes in the room when I see people and I interact with people is amazing. So I would still want to see some of you, if not all of you. So go ahead and keep your videos on if possible. It inspires me, it motivates me, and I'll try even harder to share what I know. Stay attentive, because what we are going to talk about today could absolutely transform your life. So, get rid of all distractions and just focus on what I'm going to share over the next 60 minutes. My request to you is, as you are listening to the session, there will be some things which will strike you, which will strike a chord with you, and you will say, wow, this is interesting. This I did not know. So make sure that you're sharing those moments on the chat, because it might inspire others to learn from what you just realized. Okay. And we also have a fantastic feature on Zoom, which is called reactions. So you can do a thumbs up, you can celebrate, you can, experiment with all of those icons and see what comes up on the screen. So, keep yourself alive, keep me alive, and let's keep interacting, engaging, sharing your aha moments, and use reactions or just use text, whatever is comfortable for you. And finally, take notes, because you will want to go back to what we talk about today and refer to it starting after this call, because that's going to be the kind of impact I'm hoping it will have in your life and in your career. So make sure you have a pen and a paper close to you, and you are taking notes as we keep going on. Plus, we'll have the recording for anyways available in case you want to go back and look at it as well. So these are some housekeeping rules which will make sure that you're showing up 150% and you're making the most of your time and my time. Fantastic. Let's keep moving. At this point, I want to start by doing a couple of polls and, just assessing who's the audience here, who are the people we have, and where are you right now in different aspects of your life. So I'm going to launch a poll, and I would request you to choose one option, and the poll will be open for, about 20 seconds, and then we'll close the poll. So I'm going to launch a poll. Okay, so the poll is open now, and you're seeing a question. Just go ahead and answer it. It's a single choice question, so you can choose one of the options. Okay, great. Fantastic. Let's keep going. We'll open for a few more seconds. So just go ahead and answer the poll. There's no right or wrong answer. It's totally dependent on how do you feel right now. Okay. So we have about 64% participation. I encourage others to also use the poll and just share. It's private. It's not going to be shared. Your name is not there. So you can just go ahead and share how you feel about it. Okay, fantastic. So I'm going to end this poll and I'll launch another poll. Thank you so much for participating. It's a mixed response. So I see people, most of the people, about 43% between the 30 to 50%. Okay, so I'm going to launch the next poll. Thank you so much for participating on this one. All right, so I'm going to launch this one, and this is a very interesting poll. Who is responsible for your career growth? Is it me? Is it my boss? Is it my luck, my destiny, my circumstances, or all of the above? What do you think? Who is responsible for your career growth? Okay, very interesting answers coming in. I encourage everybody to participate in this because we're talking about your career growth. Okay, fantastic. We have a very, very experienced community here. Great, great. So about 76% of the people said, I am responsible for my career growth. Fantastic. And I'm going to elaborate a little bit more on that and talk about what does it really mean when you say I am responsible for my career growth. So I'm going to end this poll and just launch one more poll before we move on with our session. All right, so this is the final poll. And it says, how confident are you of creating your dream life no matter what? How confident are you of creating your dream life no matter what? Let's see what this says. Okay, fantastic. This is actually split across all the options almost equally. Okay, so just a few more seconds. How confident are you of creating your dream life no matter what? Just go ahead. It's a private poll. I'm only seeing the results and there are no names involved. So it doesn't matter. You just have to share what you think. Fantastic, great. So this is actually divided across all the 5 and a lot of people are there, split equally. It's close to 13, 4, 28, 32, 24. Fantastic. Thank you so much. I hope it opened some awareness in you with respect to the question that I just asked. I'm going to end this poll now and we'll keep moving forward with our session. So how do you feel answering this poll? What is the one word that comes to your mind as you were answering this poll? Go ahead and put it in the chat and let me see how are you feeling right now based on what you just answered. Let's see what's coming up on the chat. Okay, how are you feeling? Did something come up for you? Did some insight get generated? Did you realize something as you were answering this poll? What happened? Self-analysis, fantastic. Okay. Learning, great. Okay. So, it's important to keep thinking and be aware of what is coming up as you're going through insight. Fantastic. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so let's move ahead and let's actually get into the crux of today's session. So what am I going to do today? How are we going to spend the next 45 minutes or so? My agenda is extremely simple. I have kept it really simple because I want all of you to take back important things, important messages, and in 60 minutes, our mind can understand or absorb only a few things. So we'll keep it very simple, but I'm going to talk about something which is the most important thing. Okay. So my focus today is to help you overcome the biggest roadblock that's stopping you from creating your dream life. Okay, we're going to talk about the biggest roadblock. And this is by experience of working with so many clients. And I have noticed that this is by far the biggest problem that people have as they are working towards their goals. It could be career goals, it could be life goals. So what do you think that biggest roadblock is? Let me see, what do you think your biggest roadblock is towards creating your dream life? Put it on the chat. What do you think is the biggest roadblock? And then I'm going to share it as we keep moving forward. There are no right or wrong answers. Just share what's coming up for you. Okay. Okay, I'm getting a few direct messages as well. Okay, fantastic. Starting on the journey, opportunity, myself. Interesting, very insightful. Yeah. What else? What else do you think is the biggest roadblock in creating your dream life? We have community. Okay. Right path. Okay, interesting. So you don't know where you have to go and how you have to go there. Okay, opportunity. Interesting. So these are very, very interesting answers. And there was one right answer in the chat as well. So the biggest roadblock which actually stops us from manifesting our dream life is what I shared through my story. Okay, so we'll elaborate that. And I want you to really experience that roadblock. So we'll do an exercise. I want you all to pick one recent situation at work that left you frustrated and irritated. Okay, we all have these different challenges. Even today, you're coming probably after work, or you're going to start your day, or yesterday you went to office, or you were working from home, whatever the scenario might be. We have so many challenges. I want you to pick one instance where you were left completely frustrated, disappointed, irritated, and you were thinking, oh my God, how I wish I could just run away from here. So think about that situation in your mind. I'll give you a few seconds to think about this. This is a very important exercise and the foundation of what we're going to talk about. So I encourage everybody to participate. Okay, you just have to think about that situation. And after you are done, show me a thumbs up. Let's use a feature of Zoom, the reactions, and show a thumbs up if you have actually thought of that situation, and I'll move forward. Great. I'm seeing a few thumbs up. Fantastic. Okay, so let's move forward. Now that you have the situation and you know what left you frustrated and irritated, I challenge you to do one thing with respect to that situation. Okay. And I want you to find at least one thing, and you can find more if you can, but I want you to find at least one thing that you can appreciate about that entire situation. In your mind, just review that entire situation and ask yourself, what did I learn from here? What is it about that situation that I learned? And what is it that I can appreciate about it? And show me a thumbs up if you have been able to identify that one thing which you could appreciate from that very frustrating and irritating situation. Anybody able to do that? Show me a thumbs up if you have been able to do that. Fantastic. Apurva has been able to do that. Amal has been able to do that. Asif has been able to do that. Fantastic. So all of us could, or most of us till now, were able to find one thing that we could appreciate from that most irritating and most frustrating situation, isn't it? So what do we learn from that? What is it that we take away from this exercise that we did? Anybody wants to you can unmute and talk and share what comes to your mind. Why did we do this exercise, and what is your takeaway from here? And then I'll share my takeaway, right? Anybody wants to unmute and share, or you can put it in the chat, whatever is comfortable.
Shall I speak?
Yes, Apurva.
Yeah, so basically thing is that sometimes we thought this is like irritating or frustrating, something like that. But thing is that means at the end we are getting something that, okay, means we need to take something positive from it and we need to move on, because if we stuck somewhere, we will stop our growth or stop our moving forward path from there. So basically we need to move on, and we need to take some like appreciation or inspiration from ourselves from that particular situation.
Fantastic. Yeah, fantastic. Thanks for sharing. So what Apurva is saying is we need to pick something from there and move on and not get stuck in that situation. Thanks for sharing. Thank you so much. Yes, Asif. Please unmute yourself and share.
Yeah. So for me, the frustrating situation was like I have resigned and I'm in my notice period. I'm 15 days away, and this recent Log4j issue. Okay, the kind of virus attack has been highlighted, and we were in a mood of like relaxing. I was considering honeymoon period, but it has not been. So for me, the action was to have my all the infrastructure to be verified and implement the solution. And also like I have already given approved leaves for the team members. So I had to go back to team and I had to get that done in 2 days, and I was able to manage that. I was frustrated on the day when I saw that coming in emails and with an action item to be fixed at the earliest, but I was able to manage by getting it done. So it is like nothing is impossible. When I saw that email, I said, oh, it is too tough now. But when I approached, and I was not hesitant about it, and I got support from the team.
Fantastic, fantastic. Thanks so much for sharing, Asif. So what we are learning from, what Apurva and Asif shared, and the exercise that you did, if you did, is that situations are neutral. Okay, situations are neutral. Everything which is happening around us is just happening, right? Now, what makes a situation good or bad is the meaning that we associate with that situation. I'll give an example of what Asif just said. For example, he said everybody had planned leaves. The whole team, he had approved leaves for everybody. And there's a critical thing that came up which he had to address, right? So this is the situation. It is neutral. It does not have good or bad associated with it. Now, if he would get into that state of what is this? It's holiday time. Why am I getting disturbed? I'm already resigned. Why do I need to take up this responsibility? He's actually associating negativity with that situation. And then we start becoming frustrated. We start becoming irritated. Our minds stop working and we are not moving forward, right? On the other hand, the same situation and how he handled it was, okay, this is tough, but let me reach out and see how we can handle the situation. That's now making the situation, it's still tough. You're not taking away anything from that situation, but now you are attaching a different meaning to it, right? So the takeaway from this exercise, if you've done, and something that I would really encourage all of you to write in bold in front of your desk, and I do it for all my clients, is situations are neutral. Situations become good or bad, frustrating or happy, irritating or joyous based on the meanings that we associate with that situation, right? And these meanings, where do they come from? These meanings come from our upbringing. These meanings come from our conditioning. These meanings come from social media. These meanings come from what we have heard from people around us. This meaning comes from our friends, family, relatives, culture, everything. Make sense? Is it making sense so far? Let me see in the chat. Just write what you feel right now. Is it making sense? Just say make sense. And I'll know that it's okay. Fantastic. Great, it makes sense. So let's move on and let's elaborate on this a little bit as to which are these two voices. So if we can make a situation good and bad, what is it? What is the difference between that? And that actually brings me to the topic that we're talking about today. So let's talk about inner critic. Okay, inner critic. What is inner critic? So inner critic for me was the voice which told me to go back to Capgemini. Inner critic was the voice in my head which said, "What are you doing, Deepa? You had such a fantastic job. Why did you leave it and get into doing something which people don't want? It's a time to feel secure. It's a time to enjoy life. Why did you do that?" That's my inner critic talking. So what is an inner critic? It's the voice in your head. It's the voice in your head which is constantly active. It's always telling you something or the other, right? And when does it show up? It shows up whenever you're trying to do something which is slightly uncomfortable, which is new for you, which takes you into a zone which might be risky, and which is not your comfortable way of working. Okay, so your inner critic most often shows up when you're trying to push yourself out of the familiar zone, out of the comfortable zone. And what is its role? It's very simple. The role that it plays in our life is to protect us, to save us, to keep us safe. Because it understands that if we go out and do something which we have never done before, we can fail. There's always that fear of failure. We can have people judging us. There'll be people who will say, "Who is this lady? What is she doing here?" And there will be people who might not like us, right? So there is always that danger when you step out of your comfort zone. And our mind, unfortunately, it has not evolved from those days when people used to live in tribes, people used to live in jungles, and any kind of danger around, our mind used to say, run, right? Freeze, flight, fight. These are the three ways in which we run any kind of threat. So in those days, any danger in the environment made us run, and our mind was the only tool we had. Unfortunately, our mind has not evolved from there. It wants us to still be safe. And inner critic is the tool which our mind uses to keep us safe. Are you able to relate to what I'm saying here? Can you think of situations, for example, you are called into a room by your boss and your boss says, "I have a fantastic opportunity for you. Would you like to say yes to that?" And your mind goes, "Oh, this is not the right time. It is pandemic. I don't know if I'll be able to travel. My family needs me. I have this challenge. I have that challenge." And ultimately we say, "I'll take time and come back to you." Has it happened with you? Right? I'll give you an example of what happened with one of my clients. So this person, he was looking for a dream role for the last 2 years and he hadn't found it. So we started working together and he got this fantastic opportunity for which he had an interview in the evening. And he called me in the morning and said, "Deepa, I'm frozen. I think I'm not prepared. I think I don't even know what that person who's interviewing me is going to ask. And I don't know if I have the experience to do it right. I think I'm going to fail there." So that was his inner critic coming up when he had such an important interview in the evening. Right? So inner critic is your inner voice. And that is why self-coaching is extremely important, right? Because when your inner critic is making that loud noise in your head, there is someone who needs to stop that. And someone who can say, hold on, I know you're trying to protect me. I know that there is danger around. I know that I might fail in the new task that I'm going to take up, but I can handle it. Thank you for raising it for me, but I am going to handle it and all will be well. I have the capability. I have the experience. I have done what it is needed. That's your self-coach. This was my second voice when I did not go back to Capgemini. This was the voice that I had to raise in my client before he actually went for that interview, right? Because if you are constantly in self-doubt, if you do not know whether you are fit or not fit, and you're constantly questioning yourself, then there is no way that the other person is going to see you as a confident leader. It's all inside out. So what is self-coaching? Self-coaching is the process of transforming your inner critic into your inner coach. Okay? Self-coaching is about getting out of your own way. Trust me, we are all having infinite potential. I work with my clients, and that is the first thing that I tell them, that you have to believe that you can create what you want. And then we get on the journey, right? And in that journey, you will get the inner critic coming and saying, not done, this is not going to work for you. I'll give you another example. So one of my clients, very interesting scenario. We had been working for about a couple of months, and he got this fantastic opportunity to work under a new manager. She was based out of a different country, not in India. And her brand was that she was a very tough leader, right? Everybody who had worked with her had shared their reviews and shared that feedback that it's very difficult to work with her. So he got an opportunity to work with her, but he was skeptical. He said, Deepa, I don't think I'm the kind of person who can work with a person like her. I'm comfortable where I am. I'm reporting to someone who I can see. I have no clue what she wants. I don't think I'm going to do it. And then we got into another coaching session, and I said, let's evaluate and let's not take a decision based on fear. Okay. And as a result of that discussion, which we had, and I still remember where I had that discussion, he actually decided to work under her. It's been about 2 years that he's been working with her. And just 2 days back, he pinged me and said, Deepa, I have got an award and I'm flying to Hawaii this coming May with my family. And it was this manager who nominated him for that award. So he told me one of the best things that happened working with you was that you helped me decide that I need to work with her. Right? So trust me, magic happens outside of your comfort zone. No magic will happen when you stay within your comfort zone, within the safety of everything around you. Right? So that is why self-coaching is so important. We ourselves are the blockers in our path. And unless we remove ourselves from that way, it becomes very difficult to move towards our goals. Okay, so now the question is, how do we recognize whether it's the critic talking or the coach? And I'll give you very simple ways to understand what is happening. Okay, so the first is listen to the language you use. If the language inside your head is, this is very difficult, I can't do it, I have failed in this multiple times, people will think I'm a failure, what will people say, I won't be able to please people, my friends will leave me. If that's the language in your head, then it's the critic. But if the language is, I can do it, I know it is tough, but I will learn, I will upgrade, I will get support, and I'm going to do it. That's your coach. Okay. The second important, and this is probably the most important way to determine what is predominant in your mind. Is it the critic or is it the coach? And this is, how do you feel? I recommend to my clients every 2 hours, take a 1-minute break. Okay, just take a 1 minute, put an alarm on your cell phone, take a 1-minute break and ask yourself, how am I feeling right now? Am I feeling disappointed, frustrated, irritated, or am I feeling excited, passionate, enthusiastic? How you feel is actually the result of your thinking. So what has happened in the last 2 hours will decide how you feel at that moment. And that is going to tell you whether your critic is active or your coach is active. Okay. And finally, if you still don't know and you want to know now, okay, you've been working for so long and we have spent a certain amount of time on this earth. So if you want to see what has been active for you over the last few years, just look at the results that you're getting. Do you have to work extremely hard to get those results, or they just come to you? Okay. If you are the hardworking type, which is working for 60, 70 hours every week and still not getting the promotion, who's working in your head? Put it on the chat. Who's working in your head? So you're working, still nothing is coming. Yes, it's the critic working. But if you're flying towards your results, you're manifesting your dream career, you are getting the hike that you desire, you're getting the job that you deserve, you are able to negotiate your salary, you are able to stand up for yourself. Who's talking here? Let's see it on the chat. Who's talking here? Coach. Absolutely. I'm so glad you're able to understand these two voices which are constantly going on in your head. Okay, so look at the results that you're getting and they will determine and they will very clearly tell you who's occupying your mind. Okay, so the other question that you need to ask yourself is, when did you last feel nervous about doing something? For example, for me, just before I entered this session, I had to do a quick 2-minute meditation because I was nervous. Right? I've been doing these sessions. I keep talking to people. Leaders are my audience and this is what I do. But I still was nervous and I was like, is it the right thing? Did I say yes too early to Suresh? So your critic will come up when you don't need it. I had to tell myself, I have done it, Deepa, so many times. This is what you do day in and day out. So what are you talking about? So I did a quick meditation. I took a few deep breaths and I said, okay, let's go. Right? So when did you last feel nervous about doing something? Put it on the chat. How long ago was that? It was today, it was yesterday, it was 10 days back, it was 15 days back, it was 1 year back. And that will also tell you who occupies more space in your mind. Let's see what's happening on the chat. So how long ago were you nervous about doing something? Okay, great. So I see yesterday, 15 minutes back, today, an hour ago. Fantastic, fantastic. That shows that your coach helps you and you feel nervous, but we still do the thing. Leadership is about feeling the fear and still taking action. That's what leadership is all about. Okay. So let's move forward because I want to share a few tools which we can use to move from critic to coach. Okay. Now, this is kind of summing up what I have discussed till now, that inside us, there are two wolves. Okay, they're constantly there. They are going to be there forever. Now, who do you think will win out of these two? Let me see. What do you think? So that's a question. We have these two wolves in our head. Who do you think will win out of these two at any given moment? What's coming up for you? It's a very interesting question. Okay, white, both, black. On what basis will they win? What will decide who will win? Okay, let me give you the answer. The wolf that you feed constantly will win. It will become stronger and stronger. Right? So if you keep listening to your inner critic, that part of your brain is going to get super active and it will freeze you at the most important moments. When you're going to make that important presentation, when you are going to talk to your boss about getting a raise, when you're going to talk about your promotion, when you're going to start looking for a job, your inner critic will come and stop you. And if you stop, you are feeding that wolf. Okay, so it's different for different people. It's like muscle building. When we go to the gym, do we build our muscles in one day? No, there is no difference in one day. Do we build our muscles in 2 days? Absolutely not. We only feel tired and drained at the end of 2 days. But what happens if you keep going to the gym for 6 months consistently? You start seeing some muscles, isn't it? You start building stamina, you start building strength, and then you see the result. It's the same thing for the wolves. If you feed, your critic, that will become stronger. If you feed your coach, that will become stronger. Is it making sense till now? Just put it in the chat. Yes, it's making sense. And share what's been your insight, what's been your aha moment. And then we'll come to the tools. Very simple tools which you can apply right now. And you will see the change. Okay, fantastic. Great. I'm glad it's making sense and you're able to relate to it, because this is exactly what happens in our head all the time and we don't know about it. Okay, so let me share a few tools and I'm going to just do a quick check. So I think we have some time. So, and I'm going to share this first tool by using my whiteboard, because this is a very critical tool and it will help a lot when you are trying to address any kind of challenge in your life. Okay, so give me a moment. So I hope all of you are able to see my whiteboard. Yes, great. So, this tool is called the 3 circles. Okay. These are the 3 circles which implemented correctly can actually change your life. Okay. And I want you to make notes, because this will be very, very important for you. And this is a tool which is very, very easy as well. So what we do is we pick a situation. Okay. We pick a situation and then we use this tool for that situation. So for example, for one of my clients, the challenge was that my boss doesn't listen to me. I have tried setting up meetings with my boss, but he just doesn't give me time, right? That was the problem. And he was not able to discuss his career growth with his boss. So let's take that situation and see how do we implement the 3 circles. So the challenge is time with boss, right? To discuss my career growth. Now, the 3 circles, this is the biggest circle, okay? And this is called the circle of concern. Okay. Circle of concern are everything that your critic is telling you with respect to the situation that you're struggling with. So in this case, the circle of concern would be, oh, I always get these kind of bosses. Bosses are like this only. They never give time to their people. And when the appraisal comes, they will say, you did not do what I expected you to do, right? Or the circle of concern will be, I work so hard, but nobody notices my hard work. I have been stuck at this situation for the last 2 years. I have not got a promotion. Or I want to leave my company. I want to move into a new job, but the market is, bad. It's sucking. I am not getting any calls, right? So we are constantly talking about all the concerns in our head, okay? Everything is happening in our mind. That's the important thing. This is called the circle of concern. All the concerns that you can think of with respect to the challenge that you're facing. Interesting? And they can be huge. You can fill books and books about the concerns that we have about any situation. Now let's get a little proactive. Now here's the coach coming, okay? This is all critic. Now here's the coach coming. So the second circle, request everybody to go on mute, please. Okay, I think I'm muted. So the second circle is called the circle of influence. Okay, circle of influence is, all right, I have this challenge that my boss is not giving me time. I have no clue what I need to do in my career. I don't even know what is expected from me. So this client of mine had recently joined the organization and he wanted to set expectations about his roles and responsibilities. So he needed to spend time with his N+1, but he was not getting the time. So the circle of influence is, okay, here is what I need to do. What can I influence? In this current situation, what can I do? Okay, it could be, for example, can I actually talk to my boss, call him and convey the criticality of the situation. Okay. Or the circle of influence can be, how can I make myself the priority in his list? Right? It could be, calling him over a weekend, because that is something that you can influence. If weekdays my boss doesn't have time, can I call him over the weekend? Or when we are having a project status update, can I take the first few minutes to have a quick chat and say, I need your time? Right? These are situations which you can influence. Now you're getting some control over that situation. Your coach has become slightly active. Okay. Now, the important thing is, even with the circle of influence, you cannot predict the outcomes, because how the other person will behave is not in your control. Right? You can still call the boss, but he might not pick up your phone. You might still talk in that status meeting and say, I need 2 minutes, and he might say, I don't have time. Right? So you cannot predict the outcome, but you are at least trying something, whatever you can influence. Okay. That's the second circle, which is the circle of influence. The third circle, which is, I love this circle, and this is the most important circle, is called the circle of control. Okay. Now I'm going to make a statement which is very, very important. I actually put it in bold in front of me, and I ask my clients to do the same, because this is something that if you accept, then it can truly be transformational. So the only person you can control is, let's see in the chat, fill in this blanks. The only person you can control in this life, on this earth, is who? Yes. Okay. Yeah, we have stars here. Everybody has the answer. Absolutely. The only person that we can control is me. I can control my emotions. I can control my responses. I can control how I respond to situations. I can control how I think. I can control the meaning I give to any situation. Right? It's a very small circle because only you are in the circle. But this is the most powerful circle. This is where life changes. When we start focusing on what's in my control, how can I respond to the situation? How can I give a more encouraging meaning to the situation? Right? So you start from the circle of control when you say, I own my career. Remember the poll, who owns your career? If you think your boss owns, your HR owns, your team owns, your family owns, you are not going to move forward until you start telling yourself, I own my career. It might be sucking right now. It might be like at the bottommost, on that pyramid, but it's still your career. So until you own it, nothing is going to change. So all change starts from there. This is the part where the coach is super active. The coach inside of you, self-coaching says, I am responsible. I am accountable. It's my life. It's my career. I have to somehow find a way to work with my boss. Right? And then you start influencing, thinking of situations that you can influence, and then you actually try moving the concerns into the influence. Right? So these are the three circles which are extremely important, and you can actually take them down on a piece of paper, write the problem statement, write the thoughts which are going on in your mind, and see if those thoughts are lying in the circle of concern, the circle of influence, or the circle of control. This is an exercise that I tell my clients to do all the time. When they are stuck, I ask them, where are you operating from? Are you operating from the circle of concern, influence, or control? And they immediately get it. Right? So this is the first tool. I want you to understand it, note it, and make sure that you are using it in your daily life, because it's only this tool can change your life. Okay. Now the next tool is the attitude of gratitude. Okay. Now what does this say? It says that in every challenging situation, there is something that I can appreciate. Right? we are living, we are alive. And if we are alive, life is going to have challenges, life will have problems, life will have pain. Only the dead have no problems. So can we be thankful that we are alive? Because problems are only, only there if we are alive, right? So that attitude of gratitude changes your focus. It shifts from thinking negatively from your critic talk to your coach. It stops all your gremlins right there. And you say, okay, I am alive. I can handle this. I need to figure out a way, but every problem has a solution, right? And I love this statement, which is where your focus goes, energy flows. So if you're constantly focusing on the pain in your life, your pain is going to grow. If you're constantly focusing on the things which are working for you in your life, they will grow. If you constantly focus on what you don't want, you will get more of what you don't want. If you constantly focus on what you want, you will get more of what you want. It's a beautiful universal law. And this is actually the base of law of attraction, if anybody of you have heard about that. We are energy beings, we are vibrating at a certain frequency and we attract things which are at that frequency. So if you are vibrating lack, you will get more reasons to feel lack. If you are vibrating gratitude, you will get more things to feel gratitude about, right? So attitude of gratitude is a quick shift from your critic to your coach. And the third very important thing is you are not your thoughts. I'll repeat it. You are not your thoughts. You are thinking. But just because you are thinking doesn't mean it is true. Right? You are thinking, so you can change your thinking. Like we said, a frustrating situation, you could figure out a way to appreciate what was happening there. Right? This guy who was not ready to work with this boss who was outside and supposed to be strict and tough, now he's enjoying his relationship with her over the last 1.5 years. He's getting awarded. He's got the best hike during pandemic and he's just having a fantastic time. Right? So just because we think in a certain way doesn't mean that is true. And there are 4 questions that we can ask when you are thinking a particular thought. The first question is what I am thinking true? Suppose, you went to your boss and he said you have done rubbish in the last, quarter and you're not going to get a good rating. And then that's a situation. And you attach a meaning and say, oh, I suck. It doesn't happen with me. I never get the support, right? I always, at the last moment, something bad happens and I'm never able to get what I deserve. So you're thinking those thoughts. Now ask yourself, is what I am thinking true? And your first answer will be, yes, it is true. It is how it is, right? Ask again, is it absolutely true? Take a pause and you will realize it's not always true. There were situations in your career when you got appreciated, you got acknowledged, you got that, validation. And this time it didn't happen. Just because it didn't happen this time doesn't mean you are bad. Right? So 4 questions. Is what I'm thinking true? Is it absolutely true? Who am I when I think those thoughts? And a good way to this is this thought harming me or is this helping me? Does this put me in a state from where I can move forward or is this taking me 10 steps back? So when I think those negative thoughts, when the critic is active, who am I when I think those thoughts? And then who do I become when I change those thoughts? You can take a screenshot of this slide because these are the 3 tools which if you implement regularly, consistently, and not give up, you will see very, very soon that your critic starts getting weaker and weaker and your coach starts becoming stronger and stronger. This is the work of Byron Katie. She's an amazing, a motivational psychologist. And she has experimented with these thoughts and I have experimented with these with my clients and they create miraculous results. The bottom line is you are not your thoughts. Okay, so these are some of the tools, and I've kept it really simple because I don't want to bombard you with information. I wanted all of you to understand how our mind operates and which are the two wolves in our mind constantly fighting for attention, and how do you actually move from a disempowering state to an empowering state. Get out of your own way, start taking actions, and make the best of the life that you have. Okay, so I'll take a pause here before I go to the rest of my slides and share, a little bit more about what I do. But any questions, if you have any questions, you can unmute. We'll take a few questions. How are we doing on time? Okay, we are about 8 o'clock. So I'll take about 10 more minutes and then we'll wrap up. So if you have any questions, just, unmute and ask, or you put it in the chat and I'll be happy to answer. Was this useful? Let's put in the chat and say useful. And what did you learn from here? You can put it in the chat so that I know if this was useful. Yeah. Okay.
Deepa, I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
So the second and third point, are they contrasting each other?
Which one? The tools you're saying?
Yes. So we are saying where your focus goes, energy flows.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that is positive. Then we are again saying you are not your thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So just because you are thinking you are not good enough doesn't mean you are not good enough. See, where your focus goes, energy flows means, suppose I feel I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I am not a good communicator, I can't do speaking sessions, I always get nervous when I'm in front of audience. That's what I tell myself again and again. And that is where my focus is going, right? So if I continue thinking those thoughts, I start believing those thoughts, right? And when I start believing those thoughts, I start acting those thoughts. I will not take up speaking sessions. I will not go in front of the audience. I will not attempt any change in my life, and I'll continue to be where I am. So if you focus on I'm not good enough, you will start feeling not good enough. You will start acting not good enough. And that is where I am saying, just because you are thinking I'm not good enough, you don't have to trust your thoughts. Change it. Are you getting it?
Yeah, and one more thing what you mentioned, that is this every 2 hours, take a break and think about yourself, whether you are you're thinking positive, self-coaching or a critic.
Yeah.
But in a practical scenario, you don't have the liberty to act upon that, right?
Yeah. And that's what everybody says, but it's your life. So what makes you say that you don't have, it's not practical?
No, I'm saying maybe in the long run it could be practical, but immediately maybe one may not be able to take any action at that time.
Yes, yeah, that's right. So, but can you at least reflect? See, what happens is, Plasbo, when we are, what we do is we run through the entire day. Okay, suppose my first interaction with a colleague or with my boss or with someone in the organization has been negative. Okay, I continue building on that through the entire day, isn't it? We keep thinking about that one instant that happened in the morning. And at the end of the day, if somebody asks us, how are you feeling? You will say, don't even ask me. It was a rotten day. Isn't it? Is that true?
So you're saying it is a cumulative effect kind of a thing.
Absolutely. You build upon the energy that you created in the first hour of your office hours. Now, what I am saying is, take a pause. After 2 hours, when I started and when I start with my clients, I make them do every hour. After every hour, just take 1 minute. Can we give us 1 minute every hour for us? Can we become a little selfish and give us 1 minute? In that 1 minute, just reflect. How am I feeling right now? What happened which is leading me to feel like this? Do I want to waste the rest of my day or do I kind of reboot and recharge and change, shift?
Okay,
So
thank you.
a
Thank you.
1 minute will change the way you look at that situation, and it will change your mood for the entire day. And you're going to get 7 productive hours instead of all your 8 hours being unproductive. Set alarms on your phone. I have so many alarms on my phone just to remind me, but then it becomes natural because I've been doing it for the last so many years. Now I automatically reflect. I don't have to take that 1 minute break.
Okay, let me try it out tomorrow.
Absolutely. It will be fantastic. I'll be happy to hear how you feel after doing that. Right? And don't give up. See, the thing is, who we have become right now is a result of living in a similar way for so many years. So if you're trying to change something, it happens by repetition. It's called neuroplasticity. We create new neurons and we create new habits by repetition. So give yourself time. That's called self-compassion, self-love, self-kindness. Be kind to yourself. Do it for some time and then see what happens. The magic happens when you repeat something over a certain number of days or number of weeks. Actually, science says now that it takes 66 days to create a new habit. Not even 21 days, 66 days. That's new data coming in, just FYI for everybody. Okay.
More than 2 months. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, more than 2 months. Absolutely. All right. So let me share a little bit about what I do. So like I said, I'm a career acceleration expert. This is a program that I have created for leaders, corporate leaders, the clients who work with me, where I take them from wherever they are in their career right now, which could be, no career growth, they could be stagnant, they could be feeling stuck, to a career which has more meaning, which has more freedom, where they are using their potential, they are, exercising and enjoying every day, having fun and working on their passion. So this is my system, which is called the Career Accelerator Formula. And it's a journey of 4 months, which I take my clients on, and we have fun and we create transformations and we create breakthroughs. Now, this is my book. Like I said, it's called the Career Accelerator Formula. It's based on my system, which I've created, and it's in the form of a workbook where there are exercises at the end of every chapter. So if you do it, you will see a lot of results coming in, very, very, very instantly. But the thing is, again, you have to do it, right? You have to sit down. It's a very, very thin book written in simple English language because I never thought I could be an author, but I did. So it's plain English and it gives you practical, easy, doable steps that can bring immediate changes. It helps you identify the beliefs that might not be working for you. I have also written chapters on skills like time management, branding, networking, everything that we as leaders need to do well in our careers. And, you can run through the book and actually finish it in 2 days and then reuse it as a workbook in the next read. So that's how I typically advise people who are reading my book. These are the different ways in which you can connect with me. So, I would request Madhuri to just put them in the chat. And for the community that we have here, I'm offering a free career breakthrough coaching call. So if you have challenges, if you want to talk about your career, if you want to speak with me, some of the people actually pinged me directly and asked how they could talk to me. So this is my calendar. You can go here, book a call, and we can have a 45-minute conversation. And in that conversation, we talk about your goals, we talk about where you might be stuck right now. And we also think of possible actions that you can take, which can create breakthroughs in your life. So, so it's free. If you want to talk about something career related with me, then feel free to use this opportunity. And, there are a few slots available on my calendar. Whoever comes first gets that slot. So I would request Madhuri to put that. Yes, thank you so much, Madhuri. So you can book a call, you can buy my book, and create the changes that you want in your career. Then I just want to highlight the 3 important things that you should remember as I wrap up my session today. It's that inner critic and inner coach coexist. The one you feed more grows stronger day by day. It's like muscle building. Okay. The second most important thing is situations are neutral. you always have a choice to build a new narrative. Because the meaning you give to a situation decides your next steps and your next actions. And the third, core to the above two is you have to be aware of what's going on in your mind. We have about 70,000 thoughts every day. And 95% of our thoughts are repeated and negative, right? So we have to become the guard of our mind. We cannot allow the critic to overpower. So stay aware, check your thoughts, check your emotions, focus on what you can influence and what's in your control. This is a sure, short way to create breakthroughs in your career, in your life, and have seen people create it for them. Okay. So thank you so much for listening to me and so patiently and engaging and sharing your experiences. This is a feedback form that I would request all of you to fill. I'll leave the form link with Madhuri and I'll put it in the chat as well. It's a very, very simple, quick form which will help me to make my future sessions more useful for an audience like you. So I would request you to spend just 1 minute to fill this form. I'll just put the link on the chat. And if you still have time, I am open for questions. And with that, I am through with my session. I hope I'm on time and you're good.
Thank you, Deepa, for the wonderful session. There's really a lot of positive thoughts have started in my mind. And not only me, for everybody else who are here for tonight. Thank you all for the wonderful session.
I've just put the feedback form, link in the chat. I'll request everybody, if you can do it now, that will be useful because once we go back, then we'll get again back to our normal corporate lives, the challenges that we have. So, if you could just take a minute, give me feedback, that I would really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Kindly click on the link and you can give us the feedback there. We'll just wait for 2 minutes here and then we'll get started by 8:15 sharp.
Hi, Deepa. Maybe, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Please go ahead.
Yeah, myself is Hisam. Thank you for your session. So, I'm almost in the same situation as what you have been to. Mm-hmm. So, 8 months before I put my paper and my dream was to work in the Middle East, UAE. So I have been in some position where I was stagnant, I could not grow, and I was not compensated for what I was been doing. Almost 10 years I've been in the same company. Mm-hmm. So I have been asking for promotions and everything, but the same thing, same as usual, what you will hear, right? The same thing they will keep telling me from last 2.5 to 3 years.
Absolutely.
So yes. I have decided myself that, okay, I will leave it and I will chase my dream. Mm-hmm. So by the time I put my paper, they came back. So they were telling me that, okay, we will give you this one. So we will give you more opportunity. You please stay for 1 more month. So we will give you more bonus. Okay, so that was the annual bonus time in that May time. During the May, you will be getting the annual bonus. So you wait for 1 more time, 1 more month, we will give you more bonus. We will give all those things, right? So the same thing, what you were told, all the critics has come from the boss, from the family, from the friends, everyone. Okay, but you will leave. You don't have any offer now, right? You don't have an offer. You are still going without anything. How you will survive for 1 year? Yeah, or until what you get a job, how you will survive? I said myself, I have my savings. Okay, why do I have my savings? If I cannot live my dream, if I cannot use my savings for my dream or what I'm living for, then what is the use of my savings? So I left my okay, this is for bank and keep that money. So I decided that one, and after I leave again, my was they were shocked and they were like, okay, you took a brave decision, all those things. And I'm still on the job hunt. Like, unfortunately, I'm still trying to get a master actually. So I have experience in service delivery management. So I'm currently trying to get a Scrum Master job, and I'm just going on this part. Currently, I'm in UAE and doing that.
Fantastic.
So exactly like attending this session, like I came to know that okay, what I was doing is like working on this critics and coaching part myself. I was already doing it, but I was not knowing okay what I was doing. I mean, I know these things I'm doing, but I didn't know what is that coach and critics part.
Yeah.
So thank you for this. I mean, realizing me that okay, these are the things which I overcame now, and what I'm currently working on this part. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing, and all the best to you on your journey.
Yeah, thank you.
There was a very interesting survey that was done on the people who are on their deathbeds. Okay, and because we know we have to go, we have to leave this earth, and someday will come when we have to go. So there was a survey which was done, and people were asked that what is your biggest regret in life? And the answer that 99.9% people, while they were just about to pass away and they were on their deathbeds, they say, I regret that I did not live the life that I wanted to live. So most of us live our life doing and, actually not living our own lives, living the lives of what others want from us. And that's a very, very, very disempowering way of living life. We have to be responsible and accountable to people around us. But then if I don't love myself, then I'm not going to do justice to the people around me. Right? So that is the biggest regret with which people go. So since you're listening to me and all of us are here, I want to share that build the courage to live your life. Build the courage to try working on the dreams that you have. Because at the end of it, life is between, B and D, birth and death. What comes between B and D is C. C are the choices that we make through the life. Right? So life is between birth and death. It's all about your choices. Everything that we do, every second that we choose, what am I doing here? Am I listening to my critic or am I listening to my coach? Can I go and talk about my promotion? Can I go and ask for that pay rise? Can I start looking for a job, not scared of what will happen if I fail? Because that's the biggest reason why people don't do anything. Fear of failure, fear of success. So let's overcome those things. So thank you for sharing your journey, Hisam. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you. Yeah, sure.
Great. I hope that you were able to fill the form and share your feedback. Really appreciate you being fantastic audience and listening patiently to me, and very, very glad that you were able to relate to what I shared. So thank you so much for having me here, Suresh, and being this fantastic audience. Thank you.
Thank you, Deepa, so much. It's been a great learning as well as a privilege for all of us, for you to join us and do this little pep talk kind of thing. I'm sure a lot of us got pepped up, the way you have given those small tidbits for all of us to reflect and move forward. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate your time and the seriousness, the way you took this talk and the way we connected a couple of weeks back, and this turned out to be a super good session. Thanks so much, Deepa.
Thank you so much. So is it okay if I would actually learn to love to listen to you, Suresh, so you can go ahead and I want to learn coaching, so I'll do that.
Sure.
Agile coaching.
Sure. So generally, this is for everyone here. So generally what I do is whenever we start a session, would like to take a short, brief break so that people get that kind of, little walk around and, get the neurons get going. Scientists say only 10% of the neurons are connected and rest of them are yet to build. So all of us need some oxygen. So what we'll do is it is 8:20 in India. So we will take a very short 5 minutes break. 8:25 we'll be back. My session is going to be very, very short anyways, 20 to 30 minutes maximum. So we will resume at 8:25. I hope all of you can come back And as always, I'm going to share a timer so that we are aware of that time and when we are getting back. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We have about 30 minutes of this Agile meetup on the Agile coaching going on. So this session is a little different, than the other coaching session. This is more on Agile coaching. So this is more specific to Agile teams and Agile organizations. And Deepa's session that we just heard was applicable to pretty much individuals, leaders, Scrum Masters, Agile coaches, any individual who would like to definitely grow and be committed to their self-development and in turn help others as well, right? So before I even get started, this is going to be a little chit-chat kind of a session. As you all know, some of you attended my workshops before. I don't have any PowerPoint. Sorry for that. A little disappointment from my side. Apologies, like always. So just wanted to ask one question to all of you. And you can either answer it on the chat or just unmute and speak. Even if you want to go with your video on, you are more than welcome to do that. Okay. So the session is more focused on Agile coaches, Scrum Masters, and what are the various kind of coaching stances one should take. What are some Agile coaching techniques that one can use so that you can start applying in your regular Scrum Master jobs. So that's what in brief the agenda for this session is going to be. About 25-30 minutes max. Okay. So I want to ask a question to all of you. What is coaching? What do you think coaching is?
Improving the techniques.
Improving the techniques. Okay, great. Helping grow.
Help.
Okay. Self-improvement. Nice. Showing the right path to the people, organizations, individuals. Help someone to learn something. Sure. Sharing what you know. Okay. Interesting. Teaching, leading from experience. So I was a little curious to understand what is coaching, and before joining this session, I was doing a little Google. Search on Google, what is coaching? And I was a little surprised to learn that coaching is about helping people develop. It's not about teaching what I know. It's about helping people develop in their professional and personal goals. Oh, great. If I can use my experience to help other people, great. I'm also mentoring people with my experience. But coaching is definitely, trying to help people find their solutions, identify their problem statement. It's not about me. It's not about my experience, right? Maybe I'm using my experience once in a while to derive that conversation, but the agenda is always about the coachee or the team member or the person or the organization or the leader that we are working with, right? So as Scrum Masters, you are helping organizations grow. You are helping teams do better. You are helping teams to become more and more self-managing, right? Since a lot of us are from an Agile background or been Agilists in the past, have been through that journey, we are focusing this half-an-hour session more on Agile coaching and how a Scrum Master or what a Scrum Master should learn and how to behave and in a coaching scenario and so on, right? So that's what the context is a little bit. Okay. Now, having said that, I also wanted to understand what is the difference between a Scrum Master and an Agile coach? Because I don't see Agile coach is a formal definition anywhere, right? If I look at the Scrum guide, I don't see a term called Agile coach. So I would like to invite everyone here to join a separate room, a breakout room that you normally do in other, maybe some Zoom sessions, especially in my classes, right? So let us join a separate room with a group of about 7 or 8 people. and try to understand. Maybe one of you can make notes if you can. Just try to understand the differences between Scrum Master and an Agile coach. What is your view for that? Okay. So I'm going to open breakout rooms now. This is going to be a quick, maybe like 4 minutes discussion about what is the difference between the Scrum Master and an Agile coach. So let's look at those. Anyone has any confusion or question about what are we doing in the next, say, 4 minutes? If I don't hear anything, so I'll assume positive intent. So what is the difference between Scrum Master and Agile coach? A quick 2 points, in your own view must be good enough. Let's try. I'm opening 3 rooms with about 7 or 8 people each. So everyone would see a request on your screen. So kindly go ahead, accept, and you could discuss. So Deepa, I didn't put you in any room. I mean, I can do that if you wanted to go and join a room. Is that okay to stay here?
No, I am here. Yeah, I'm good here. I don't know the answer, so I'll be here.
Okay, no problem. And I did put some of the team members as well in the room, and some of them received the request, but I guess they're still waiting, curious to be in the main session, and it's okay. So I'll just run a quick timer. So I'll quickly hop on to one of the rooms and figure out if at all there is any discussion happening.
Scrum Master is horizontal. Scrum Master is horizontal. Coach is vertical. We can say.
Yes, adding to it, Agile coach is one who will give us a direction or who will help us to learn Agile or implement. But whereas Scrum Master is one who will be with us and who will try to remove the impediments also.
Welcome back, everyone, from that breakout room discussion. I know it's very short, but I hope you could discuss whatever is possible. So, can anyone summarize what happened in the breakout room? A quick, short summary.
Okay, hello sir. We discussed that in Agile coach is mainly representing or train the organization, and it it's mainly focus on the mindset of the people in organization or set of the team, we can say. And Scrum Master is mainly project oriented. It focus on a or facilitate the project and make sure that project goes as per the process of the agile, and it can Scrum Master can handle only the project of more than one project, and agile coach mainly facilitate on the entire team of the organization or part of the organization.
Okay, that's very good summary, Nivedita. Thank you so much. So what I understood is Agile coach is focusing a little bit higher level of the organization, or maybe a little broader sense, while a Scrum Master is focusing more on maybe one or say few teams. Okay, great. Thank you. Let's hear out from other teams quickly, and let's conclude on this.
Adding to that, sir, Scrum Master is he's only focusing on the framework of the Scrum thing, and Agile is nothing but it's not only the Scrum. It is having Kanban, it is having Crystal, and another frameworks also there. You need to uh, give the coaching on the frameworks which is required for that organization.
Sure, I think that's a very, very good point. So Scrum Master is focusing more on implementing Scrum, while an Agile coach is probably not just worried about Scrum implementation, but also, in addition, is also
Yes,
about other frameworks, in general, an Agile mindset as well. That's very good. Any other opinions, viewpoints that happened in the breakout room?
Yeah, hi Suresh. So the last point we discuss is like the life cycle. So Scrum Master is having a life cycle till the Scrum team exists, and coach is having a life cycle of maybe one issue has been raised by the respective team, and if that issue or that development has been done, that Agile coach task is done over there. But Scrum Master will continuously work with that particular team.
Okay, so the coach is probably come and go for that team, for that issue or for that resolution, while a Scrum Master is continuously traveling with that team. Okay, that's a good point too. So thank you. So thank you everyone for joining, discussing, and coming back and summarizing. So just if I also would like to add a couple of points there. So there is no formal role called an Agile coach in the organizations, but Agile coach is one of the natural progressions for Scrum Master happening in the organizations, because these are, number one, little bit senior people. They probably had already that kind of an experience handling multiple Scrum teams, multiple organizations, a lot of customers, business teams, and so on. Maybe they have gathered that kind of an experience. They have already coached other teams, mentored them, removed their impediments, and played a hell lot of Scrum Master job before in the past. And then they are helping probably at an organization level now. A Scrum Master focuses more on maybe one team, two teams, three teams, five teams at times, though it's not a very good idea of so many teams, but it happens, right? And still, the Agile coach is probably working at a larger program level or an organization level, and maybe they are helping other Scrum Masters, right? So one Scrum Master is joined the organization newly and they were like struggling to learn things. So it's an Agile coach who can also help a pool of Scrum Masters establish a common platform for them to connect. For example, something called as a community of practice. So there is something called as, I'm just writing here, community of practice. So I have seen this happening in one of the organizations where an Agile coach is fairly coming with a lot of experience, and they said, let us establish a community of practice for all the Scrum Masters. So they used to connect once in a week or once in 2 weeks, and discuss what are some of those good practices and share learnings. And an agile coach can help doing all these things, right? So such an agile coach, we are going to discuss a little bit about what an agile coach is doing and what are the skills that they need. This is going to be useful for Scrum Masters, senior Scrum Masters, and maybe agile coaches also who are playing that kind of a role in your organizations, right? So in your regular day-to-day conversations, one-on-one or a one-to-a-team conversations, there is always a lot of conflicts happening, a lot of decision-making happening, right? This is where an agile coach also takes a stance. What is a stance in general?
Stand up for the situation.
Stand up to a situation, a position that one takes during a conversation, during a meeting or a discussion, right? Likewise, there is a coaching stance as a term used in the world of coaching, right? So coaching stance is a kind of a position that one takes during a coaching conversation. Now, there are several coaching stances that a coach can take, but we are going to touch upon 3 different coaching stances. Number 1 is this. Can somebody read this?
Hold coach's agenda.
Hold coach's agenda. Coachee means the other person or a team that we are talking about. Say you are the coach and there is a coachee whom you are helping them to figure out some solutions and figure out their problem statement and so on. So as a coach, you always take a stance of holding to that agenda. So when you get into a conversation, you ask them, hey, what is your goal? Why are you here? Right? They always have a goal or a problem statement that they need to define very clearly at the beginning of that conversation. Oh, I'm here because, we are meeting with some delays in our sprint goal, and we are not sure how we are going to resolve those issues or delays. So that's a goal. So as a coach, you hold on to that agenda. It is not about your bias. It's not about your opinion, why they missed out the sprint goal. It's about their discussion. It's about the coachee's discussion, their problem statement. You may be asking some questions. Okay, why did you miss this goal? Why do you think you missed this goal? It's not about you telling them the reason why they missed the goal. That's more of your opinion, and that may or may not be right at times, right? So you hold to the coach's agenda, their plan, their discussion, their situation, their problem definition. Sometimes they don't even know what the problem is. They only know the impact of it. So you got to help them define their problem statement. And that is something you could do by probably asking a couple of open-ended questions, right? So that is one stance that a coach takes. And the next one is
Coachee is resourceful.
Coachee is resourceful. What does this mean? This means you should start believing that the coach or the coachee has the answers. At times you are not the subject matter expert. Remember, you are only helping somebody grow. You are only helping somebody realize the situation. You're only helping somebody formulate a goal for themselves. So which means they are the experts. A coach need not be a subject matter expert all the time in the coachee's field, right? So you should start believing that the coachee has the answers. They know the problem statement, they have the answers, but you should start helping them to bring up those answers by way of those coaching interventions or the coaching conversations that we are talking about, right? The moment you start thinking that, oh, the coachee probably doesn't know the situation and I will only help them give a solution, probably you are driving them in your thinking and you are not really helping them realize. So coach will only invite a discovery process for the coachee. And that is possible when you start believing that the coachee or the team is resourceful to take care of their situations. But remember, they may not be having the best solution always. So you should probably help them discover the probably best solution in that situation. And that is possible by a lot of conversations. And we will see what are some of the techniques that you can use to help them figure out a solution for themselves. And the third stance is
self-management.
Self-management. What does this mean? It is something related to the first point that we talked about, holding the coach's agenda. In order to hold the coach's or the team's agenda, you should start understanding about yourself, that you got to also manage yourself. You probably have to get out of your biasing first. Generally human beings, we start judging people, isn't it? When people go to a coach for a discussion, the coach may start judging, may start thinking about a situation. Oh, had I been, I would have resolved the situation this way and you probably missed out that boat. This is a general thing that happens, that comes to the coach's mind at times. So you got to get out of that situation. You got to start focusing on the coach's problem, their agenda, their solution, which means you are getting rid of your bias, your opinion, your judgment. So you should start managing yourself better, right? And that is possible when you fully focus on them. So these are 3 stances. There can be more stances that a coach can take, but we would like to probably move on discussing about how you can develop some of these, right? And that's what is the coaching techniques. We will look at that for a few more minutes and then probably wrap up. So for more discussion, generally we do these discussions in either a advanced CSM class or some coaching class, which we don't generally do in a CSM, meaning a certified Scrum Master class. Many of you were there, and this is a little advanced topic which we discuss in an advanced CSM class, right? So let us discuss some of those coaching techniques. As a coach, what should you cultivate? So I'll share my screen here. We'll discuss 4 of them. Okay. So let's get to this. So I'm sharing my screen. I've briefly stopped my video. So as a coach, what are some of those things that you need? What do you think is the most important technique or a skill that one needs to cultivate as a coach? Any guesses?
Listening, understanding.
Listening. Okay, this is awesome.
Have a goal.
Listening. Sorry, Funny, you said something?
And what is the goal required? Have a goal.
Okay. So goal, yes, definitely. But the goal, as we were discussing earlier, is more about the team's goal or the coach's goal that we are talking about, right? So I also see a couple of terms that came up on the chat window, like having empathy, so on. Absolutely, yes. But listening is one of the most important skill that a coach should cultivate, right? And there are various levels of listening. You have level 1, level 2, level 3. So I'll just list them briefly here. Level 1, 2, 3. Level 1 is called, there are various kinds of listening. There are various levels of listening. What we have written here is more of active listening. So level 1 is called internal listening. This is where, as a coach, you are trying to focus on the team or the coachee, but it's fine. You're finding it very hard. You're always thinking, what would I do in this case? What is in it for me? How is this going to impact me? What is my judgment? And it's like a one-way, information flow. Though you're trying to focus on the other person, you are still not able to, right? And this probably happens in the very first few moments or maybe minutes at times. And level 2 listening, which probably you go into this next level after some time when you're trying to focus more. And this is called focus listening. And this is where there is a very, very sharp focus on the other person. And you're trying to focus, listen, and trying to be there with them, trying to understand their situation. There is a very, very positive intent. Sometimes you're leaning forward, try to understand them better. And there is a great deal of attention here on the other person, right? And you're not really bothered about the outside world. That's called focused listening. And a level 3 listening, which is more of global listening. This is where you have get rid of your opinions and your bias, and you have moved ahead, and you are totally focused on the individual, and you are also focusing on the surrounding. You're trying to get some information more on certain senses. You're trying to extract information through the body language, right? So as you know, communication happens, 93% of the messaging is done through the body language and not just by words, right? So that's a very, very well-known fact. So you're actually focusing more on that at a global level, and it is as if you are getting cues and information from a lot of sources, which will actually help you fully listen to that person. So as a coach, you got to cultivate and see how you can get to that highest level of listening, which is called the global listening, right? Again, as I said, this session we are only trying to touch upon very, very brief, but how to cultivate, probably this is not the right forum. Maybe there are other forums on where you can learn on how to cultivate these techniques. Now, the other very important for a coach is asking questions, powerful questions. What are powerful questions? Powerful questions are those questions which you ask more of open-ended, and it's not like a closed-end question which doesn't have an answer, either yes or no, which is more elaborate, descriptive, and you ask them with very genuine, intent to learn, curious to learn and understand the other team, your team. As a Scrum Master, you ask powerful questions to your teams. For example, you're trying to assess a situation. Okay, you may ask, how do you feel about it? Or you're trying to clarify certain situations, you may say, okay, what do you mean by this? What does it feel like, right? Or you're trying to get to a more elaboration of the situation, you may even ask, can you tell me more? What else? What else is a very, very open-ended question where a coach tries to understand more and more information, right? So one should master the art of asking powerful questions. And another technique is reflection. Right? Which means you're trying to reflect upon your own experiences, your own knowledge, and you're converting your experience into knowledge while reflecting on a situation. So you have experienced a lot of these things, a lot of conversations, and wherein you are trying to convert that into a knowledge and trying to ask the right question, right? And the benefit of reflecting is also about you are building more and more about about knowing that person, that situation, and so on, so that you can ask the right and a powerful question, the next one. And a coach should also master the art of giving feedback. Now, feedback is also about what, for example, you are asking a question, what prevents you from doing this? What prevents you from getting there, from reaching your current goals? So you're continuously asking those questions so that you are formulating your own feedback and then probably sharing that feedback in a more positive way. Sometimes you're confirming the comments about a past behavior. You're not really trying to correct the behavior, but you are trying to repeat certain things, right? So feedback is another great coaching technique that one should build upon. Okay, so that's very, very brief. I know this is a kind of a scratching on the surface. Coaching itself is a profession by itself, and it's one of the very, very oldest professions. Just that Scrum Master is borrowing from the coaching profession, in fact, right? So as a Scrum Master, you are supposed to coach and help people and help them develop, right? So as I said, some of these techniques and stances we practice in an advanced CSM class. This is just like a little bit scratch on the surface, and we're trying to understand what is in there. And for practice, we can always join more sessions or read a book or join a coaching class, or sign up for an advanced class, or even go for a conference wherein some of these sessions are being practiced in reality. Or maybe take mentorship from an agile coach within your organization. Maybe that's even, there is nothing like that, right? So getting mentorship from a really experienced agile coach, right? So I'll end this session here. Maybe take 1 or 2 questions if there are any. Else I will hand it over to Madhuri for a formal closure.
How can we become agile coach?
How can you become an agile coach? Very good question. From a career standpoint, you can become an agile coach. You are playing the role of a scrum master, probably handling multiple teams, multiple departments and organization. Probably you're getting a promotion or a designation of an agile coach, right? So that is something you gain by experience. But agile coaching as a stance or a technique is something you can become better and better only by practicing it. So some techniques we said, right? Active listening. So the more you practice active listening, you probably become a great listener. And the more great listener you become more and more a successful coach and helping more teams. So thereby you are becoming better. And then the reflection, right? So the techniques that we have just listed will help you become a better agile coach, not from a designation standpoint, but from a profession and an attitude perspective. Okay, so we are at almost 9 o'clock. Maybe we will be delayed by 3-4 minutes. I'll hand it over this to Madhuri. And Madhuri, it's all yours for closing the event.
Thank you, sir. Sir, there is one question here. What is the difference between trainer and coach?
Okay. So let me answer that. A trainer is somebody who is actually, trying to provide that knowledge, provide that maybe a little bit of experience and training the entire organization, right? So you're training on Scrum, you're training on Agile, you're training on Java, you're training on a database skill or something of that sort by using some examples, hands-on training and so on and so forth, right? You also use teaching as a technique to do your training profession, right? While a coach is somebody who is helping by helping the organization find out your problems. So for example, I'm a trainer and I'm helping an organization of 100 people train on Scrum. But if I'm a coach, I'm helping them, I'm traveling with them in their journey, in their transformation. I'm helping them to discover their problem statement and discover their solution by themselves. So which means I'm trying to make them more and more self-managing organizations and more agile organizations, right? Training is probably a one-time activity while coaching is little longer term activity. And once the coaching is complete, which is probably a big journey by itself, maybe the organization is more self-managed and more transformed, more successful, right? So for a transformation, training is probably one of the initial steps, but that's more tactical in nature. Coaching could probably give you more strategic benefits. Okay, last question, seriously last question. Asif, you were there on the last weekend or a CSM class. So one word I can say, difference between mentor and coach. A mentor uses largely their own experience to guide people in decision making, while a coach may not use experience, though it is there. They're probably inviting people to discover their own solution, right? What are your steps? How do you think you want to be successful? What makes you more successful than what you are today? So by asking those questions, you are helping them discover their own solution rather than you directing them in a specific way. So that's a one-liner difference between a mentor and a coach. Asif, thanks for asking that question. We will seriously hand over to Madhuri. I know it's a very, very short session, but probably you should register more for our sessions and have these conversations more. Thank you so much. Madhuri, please go ahead. She'll take a few more minutes and we are all done.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Deepa, and thank you, Suresh sir, for the wonderful session. Hope this experience and learning will help you in your Agile journey as well as in your life and your